Hi to everyone, all the people in Greece and all the fans of Iron Maiden and Dennis Stratton. That's who's here, Dennis Stratton, to say hello to all the Greek people and the Greek fans. I'm going to try and answer some of your questions. I don't know about all of them, but let's see how we get on. Dimitri, name your influences. Well, Dimitri, many years ago, in the early 70s, I was influenced by a band called Wishbone Ash, because I was very influenced by the harmony guitar work, Andy Powell and Ted Turner. I basically copied that harmony guitar sound with one of our first bands, which was RDB. The bands before that had keyboard players, so it was pretty awkward. With the keyboards, little bits of Yes came in and long distance run around, little harmonies. But the most important band in the 70s, early 70s, was RDB, Remus Down Boulevard. We followed Wishbone Ash, Capability Brown. Myself and Dave Edwards took the harmony guitars to the limit in RDB. And that's what I took into Iron Maiden in 1979. As they only had one guitarist. The harmony guitar stuff did work. I think you can tell by the way they're still using it now, with 3 guitars. Yeah, that was the idea of going in to make the biggest sound I could with the early Maiden songs. So the influences was definitely Wishbone Ash. Now, my influences range from Steve Lukather, from Toto, Neil Schon. You know, there's so many good guitarists out there now, so there's lots to listen to. And as the internet gets better and bigger, then you're going to get more guitarists coming out of the woodwork. So yeah, they're basically my influences. If I was in Iron Maiden today, I'd probably be dead, Gianni. I'm not sure. It's a hard question to answer. If I was in Iron Maiden today, I don't know. It would be very hectic. I imagine by now it's calmed down quite a lot, but it was quite hectic in the early days. So I can't really imagine myself. I think I'd still be doing backing vocals. I'd still be putting as many harmony guitar licks into the songs, and I suppose by now I would try to be writing stuff, songs in Maiden, which I think we'll approach a bit later. My favourite Iron Maiden album, except the first one, Gianni. Well, it's got to be, I think, I'm not sure, it's got to be the 3rd or 4th album. The one where, I don't know all the titles because I've been working so much with other bands, I don't get to keep track of things, but I think they're most commercial were the days of Run to the Hills, 666, The Trooper. You know, they've got so many good tracks in them days. So you know, that's sort of like the stuff I like. They're not too heavy, but still got a catchy lick. You know, The Trooper and all them sort of songs. I'm not sure how to announce this name. Elias, I'm not sure. I'm very sorry if that's wrong. Would I like to be one of the 3 amigos today? Well, to be honest with you, I went to the O2 Arena. Steve Harris called me last August and invited me down to the O2 Arena to catch up, because I haven't seen him for many years and we're still quite close. My children grew up with Steve's children. So my daughter Carly looked after his kids in America on one of the tours around 92. So we're still quite close. We talk on the phone all the time about West Ham, whether we're winning or losing. I went to the O2 Arena and I thought, I wasn't a lover of the new material, I must admit, but I just thought that with Dave and Adrian on one side and Yannick on the other side, it was a bit separated. It didn't look like a 3 amigos team. It looked like 2 and 1, and I'm not sure. If I was one of the 3 guitarists today, I think I would be there with Dave and Adrian or whoever the other two were, but I would be closer. The way you see the old photographs in the early days of Dave, Steve and myself, all three at the front, and that's how I would like it, because that puts a message across to fans that there's a closeness in the lineup. No, I have not been asked back. I think they moved on too far now. My daughter said to Steve at the O2 Arena, are you going to get the old man up to play? And Steve said laughingly, very jokingly, there's enough old men on the stage at the moment and we don't need another one, which I thought was quite funny. If I was asked to return, would I do it? George, I'll call you George, it's easier for me. Well, of course, because it would be silly to turn it down, but if I've just said in the last question, if I was asked to return, I would like it to be closer. I'd like it to be more bonding rather than the separation. And yeah, and I don't see a problem, because a joke a few months ago was that Adrian Smith was going to take a year off to concentrate on his solo album, and I had some fans emailing me and Facebooking me and texting me saying, am I going to get my red leather trousers out? I called Steve and I told him about the message, and he texted me back and he said, well, if you're going to get your red trousers out, I better get my black and white striped ones out. So it was a bit of a joke, very funny, but of course you couldn't turn it down. You know, they're a massive band. Nikos. It's not Nikos McBrain, is it? Anyway, do I like today's sound and compositions? Sorry, I've not got my glasses on. Do I like today's sound and compositions? I do like the sound. They've gone very digital, very high tech with the effects they're using on the guitars, which I quite like. But the compositions are a little bit limited, and I think that's down to Steve probably writing most of the stuff, most of the songs. I would like to see a few other people writing to give a more of a wider selection of songs. But yeah, I do like it. Yes, it's always a good sound, and live it was a good sound as well. Do I think that the band must return to an original sound? Nikos, I think if they're going to return to original sound, they have to try and write songs like Phantom of the Opera and sort of Iron Maiden and Sanctuary and Drifter. I'm not sure. The original sound was very analogue. I'm not sure. I think as time moves on, all bands experiment with new equipment. Whether or not it will go back to the old analogue sound, the warmer sound apart from digital, I don't know. I think they're doing quite well as they are, don't you? Unfortunately, Clive is not too good. It's a sad situation. Elias, I think that's, yeah. Elias? I'm not sure. I went to see Clive a couple of months ago with Dave Lights and Pete, my old guitar roadie. And it was sad because Clive's in a very bad way at the moment. He can't move very much. He moves his eyes. And it's such a sad loss because, you know, we've been mates since I got him the gig in Iron Maiden when I took him to the rehearsal. So it's sad to see one of your long-term friends just sitting in a chair, not being able to move because of the MS has sort of like improved quite a lot. The albums I'm currently listening to, well, funny enough, I've been listening to not so many big bands, some up-and-coming bands that I quite like. I think what you're saying is mainly the bands I like listening to, which is definitely Journey, as everyone knows. It's definitely Foreigner, Toto, Whitesnake. It's all the original, my old mates and people I love listening to. I've been listening to Luca from the Clairvoyants. I've been listening to his solo album, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It's all instrumentals, but after playing with him for 6 years in Italy, I didn't realise what a fantastic guitarist he is. I love listening to, as you know, Joe Satriani, all the clever bastards. But yeah, any new albums from Journey, anything comes out, I'm listening to rock stations here all the time, so you get to listen to the new releases. What are my future music plans? Well, a couple of people in Italy got their own company, have been asking me to do a solo album. I'm not sure whether or not we'll do that. I'm doing quite a lot of festivals now in Italy, Germany, France, Holland. I'm doing one in Holland with my old mates Praying Mantis very soon, and I'll be getting up and playing with them, and sort of a couple of songs that we did and we wrote together a few years ago. I'm not sure. I'm still working so hard with some bands over in England, and we're working all the time, as you know. You can see it on Facebook, so yeah, I'm not sure whether I'll do this album or not. It's sometimes it can be more trouble and more hard work than what people realise. So we'll see about that anyway. How does it feel to play 30-year-old songs? Well, I must admit, when I went to see Iron Maiden at the O2 Arena last August, the biggest cheer they got from the crowd in the O2 Arena were the old songs. So I think they stand out themselves. Yeah, I still go to it. We still do these Iron Maiden conventions around Europe, and playing the old songs, when you're playing with good musicians, it is just like playing with the real band. You know, they are just so good. And it still gives you a buzz when you're up there and there's a new generation of fans that come along to see you. And how important do I think the new wave of British heavy metal movement was? Well, it was very important, wasn't it? Because you can see for yourself that the bands that were really struggling, that were really trying to break through, that gave them the chance to break through. You know, with us, with RDB, we were touring with Status Quo even before I'd heard of Iron Maiden. And we were touring with Status Quo in 75, 1976. And what happened in England was when the punk scene came on, it ruined a lot of bands like myself and RDB and other bands that just couldn't get a look in because the punk bands seemed to take over. And it was easier to market them because everyone was into it. So yeah, the new wave of heavy metal brought young bands through, Maiden, Def Leppard, you know, you can see Saxon still going. So yeah, very, very important. And we'll leave the next question, because whoever you're talking about's got a big mouth, and every time he opens it, full of shit comes out, but we'll leave that question. Tell me everything about the Clairvoyants. Okay, about 6 years ago, I was asked to go over and do a Iron Maiden convention in Milan, and I met these guys, the Clairvoyants, fantastic band. They were working on their first album in 6 years ago. So yeah, I got on stage and then we go through a 50-minute set of most of the first album and a couple from the second album. So basically, they go on stage and do 1 hour. They can do either their own material, or they'll do some Maiden stuff, or a mix between original and Maiden stuff. And then I go on as a guest, special guest, and I do the last 45, 50 minutes. And absolutely brilliant, great musicians, and it's still going now. So yeah, I can't knock it. They're great lads. It's a great scene over there in Italy. I left school at 15. Well, basically, I left school at 14 and a half. It was the youngest you could ever leave school. It was at Easter. And I went straight into the docks. My father, grandfather and uncle all worked in the docks in engineering. And I went into the docks working on ships at 15. I started playing the guitar when I was mid-16, so I was a year into my apprenticeship in engineering. And as I was learning to play the guitar from the age of 16 to 20, I carried on working in the docks on the ships. I thoroughly enjoyed it, great job, marine engineering, and learnt a lot, met a lot of nice people, a lot of good experiences. But the guitar took over. I left the docks when I aged 20, and that was when we got involved with Status Quo. Quarry Management managed Quo, and Rory Gallagher, they also managed us. And then RDB, off we went. I imagine I must have been about 22, 23, and off we went all over Europe and Scandinavia with Quo, which was a lot of experience learned in a very short time. So yeah, that was good. The management of Iron Maiden, basically me and Rod didn't see eye to eye. Rod didn't like the music I listened to when I wasn't with the band. He didn't like the music I listened to in my hotel room or while I was travelling in the bus or a car. He had the impression that I wasn't into the band, Iron Maiden. I wasn't into heavy metal as 100% as everybody else. But what he didn't realise is that I still had a bit more experience than him by working with Quo for about 2 or 3 years. So I knew how to switch off. I knew what music to listen to relax. And so basically he said to me, we can't criticise your work. You're absolutely brilliant at what you do, but it's in your free time that you listen to this other music that is very worrying. So we didn't see eye to eye, and we ended up having a disagreement, and that was the end of it. So unfortunately it was sad, you know. He did apologise in 1984 in Los Angeles when he said to me he then understood why you had to switch off when you wasn't working. So please, here's a message for Iron Maiden, the Greek FC. Well, all I can say is I've been to Greece at least 6 times. All the islands, I love it. It's one of my favourite places to visit for holiday. I would love to come over and do some festivals over there. I never actually got the chance with Prayer Mantis. I think we went once, I'm not sure. But I would love to come over and play. We do the Iron Maiden set with different bands. What can I say? You know, it's such a lovely country to visit. And please sort out the euro, because it's a shame that all this is going through the financial state. We need to get everything back working and rock and roll. So any promoters out there would love to get me over there to play. You've got my email address, you've got my name and number, and now you've got this message. So lots of love to all you fans out in Greece and the Maiden Greek FC. Keep rocking and keep faithful. And I'll speak to you soon. Love you. Bye-bye.